each other, trying to have those lot sizes consistent. We're at, on average, 88-foot wide lots, which I know doesn't mean a lot in this context. We have some pictures coming up here in a moment to give a little more look and feel for what that really means and how it, equates into a community. We can go to that next one. In addition to some of the, our understanding, we have the green on 5 Mile. We're having to reconstruct 5 Mile, even though a good portion of that isn't abutting our property. It's to make that connection further to the west, and then putting in about 1,700 lineal feet of trail going up to Olympia Brown Elementary School. And it will go in front of the 20-acre village parcel as well. So for context, somebody at the public meeting brought up a very good point that it's hard to oftentimes equate with lot sizes and what's that mean, and are homes going to be stacked on top of each other, and how's it really going to feel? So what we did is we went to really 3 of our current subdivisions that we're working in right now. This one is in Twin Lakes. Just to show some context, these are average lot size of 13,000 square feet, so very comparable. 90-foot width, we're at 88, very comparable. Just to get an idea of setbacks and street scene. This is in the village of Paddock Lake, also comparable, 10,500 square foot lots to 12.5. We do have some of the open space, very similar to what we're proposing here with stormwater basins and other natural areas. These are a little skinnier lots. These are 75 feet wide, but I think if you're ever to go through the subdivision, it's a very good feel, and it's done very well. And this is in Racine County, Canopy Hill. This is in the village of Union Grove. Again, comparable, average lot size, 12,900 square feet. A little skinnier, 85-foot width, but just gives you an idea that houses certainly aren't stacked on top of each other. It's much like the neighborhoods just due south, west, and east of the proposed subdivision. Just another shot of it there. And then for some additional context, just thinking about, okay, well, what types of homes are going to be constructed? Where are they going to sell at? How does that equate? So we wanted to put some examples of product that we've constructed that is either available or has sold recently. This is in the Whitetail Ridge subdivision in the village of Paddock Lake. 489.9. It's on a 10,000 square foot lot. This is in Union Grove on a just under 13,000 square foot lot. 555. Arbor Ridge, this is in Pleasant Prairie, but 489.9. And this is in Union Grove here, 559. So again, just trying to paint the picture as best we can as to the kind of product offering that we're looking at, what we feel the end product will look like from a subdivision standpoint, both from a future homeowner and neighbors, so everybody could hopefully be comfortable with what we're proposing. I'm here to answer any questions you might.
So tonight we're working on just a concept plan. You're going to come back with real engineering drawings in the future if this is approved.
Absolutely.
What is the price mark you're looking at for homes in this subdivision?
475 to 600.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
Yeah, certainly.
Anybody else on your team wanted to speak, or Mr. Leffler?
Ray Leffler, 111 Lamplighter Lane. One of the purposes when we came in and tried to put this whole project together with these multiple pieces, and this is one piece that fits into the puzzle, was it was very important to figure out how do we help Douglas Avenue. And between 4 and 6 Mile Road, we have very significant projects. We've been in discussion with some of the property owners of things that need to happen. To make that happen, you have to have density. If you're trying to get any of the big commercial developers to come to this area, they want to see rooftops. Lake Michigan blocks roofs to the east, and it's going to stay to the west, very low density, which you have in your plan. This is a little more area as we're east of 32, where more density should actually happen with the sewer and water that's already there. But it's really important to know that this was driven by the fact if we can get more rooftops, we can deliver on some of the things that we've always tried to do on the 4 Mile Road, the 6 Mile Road corridor. So I just want to make sure that's that was clear as we came in and asked for this, some of the things that went along with the other two pieces. Very important component for it. We want people to live, spend their money here, and pay their taxes here.
Thank you, Ray.
Tom?
Yes.
I have a question, or it's a question or a comment, but we had Laura Million come in at the last committee, was the Committee of the Whole, I think, meeting, because I had actually called her and said, this was pitched to us as this will commercially develop Douglas Avenue, which I agree would be a good thing. But we never had any metrics on what are we talking about? What kind of development might this do? And so Laura did bring two developers in with her. But the gist of what they said was, well, you might get another Chick-fil-A or something. This is not gonna bring you anything substantial.
That's not what they said.
So, well, it is what they said.
I can provide a little context on that
Yeah.
if you like. And it's very tough for us to choose exactly which retailers or potential office users are going to go where until they run all of the different metrics that they do, because they all have different metrics from their radiuses of, okay, what's the annual incomes, et cetera, traffic
Right,
counts.
and
But I can bring up one good example of, this is in the Village of Summers, where there was a super Walmart and a Walmart, and it was developed in 2006, 2007, and none of the outlots developed. So we acquired the first major 30-acre outlot in 2015. We put up, and it's a little different, but it's still relevant from a residential standpoint, we put up 330 units of multifamily. That multifamily, a lot of the retailers were very excited about, because it was about 650 to 700 residents in that immediate area. When we go back and we look at the shot in the arm that did for the retailers, originally there was 0 pads. Today there's only 1 out of about the 18 pads left that hasn't been developed. And was this 100% the answer to all of that? Not necessarily, but retail is a little bit of a different animal too, where when the first one goes, and then you have another one that follows, and it's kind of nobody wants to be left out, and it just gradually, it happens very quick when it happens. And it's a variety of different retailers. So from your Chick-fil-A to your Oak Fire Pizza to, I'm thinking down there, those kinds of some specialty restaurants, et cetera.
I'm sorry that you weren't here when they were here, because what you're saying doesn't comport with what they said, and these are guys who do the developing. So it's hard for me to say, yes, this is going to help Douglas Avenue develop commercially, because I don't think and I understand that each one has its own metrics, and they need, the traffic count and the average income and whatever the area is and so on. I do understand that, but it doesn't mean that the information isn't there. And when this was pitched to us, we should have had that information, at least a broad scope of the information, before we ever voted on TID 6. Because now it seems to me we're left in this sort of dark hole. And I understand you're the developer, so of course you have an optimistic view of it. And I understand that, and that I'm not faulting you for that. And there may be parts of this development that would be good, but it's hard for me to support it when we really don't have any firm information on exactly what we might get and what that might do for the tax base. I mean, the presence of a Chick-fil-A, frankly, doesn't excite me too much. Maybe people like that. But I was hoping that on Douglas Avenue, we would get something more substantial that would be more of a benefit to our tax base. That's what a TID should do to me, is improve the tax base. And residential doesn't improve it, except to the extent that it might bring rooftops.
Yeah, and there's no real easy answers on that. I think that it will help that unequivocally. I think anybody would agree that additional rooftops is going to push additional retail. The exact retailers, are you going to get a grocery store? Are you going to get another pharmacy? It does get a little dicier, and a lot of it depends on that individual retailer at the time that they're looking. Happy to have a further discussion with you on that too. We do retail development, a lot of power centers, and so we have good relationships with them and understand what the actual retailers' metrics are. But it also changes a lot, and so it's just trying to strike while the iron's hot and make sure we have the residential counts to be able to support it.
Right.
Thank you.
I have lots of other comments, but I'll save them.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. We're probably up to 2 minutes to listen to our citizens and let you voice your opinions to the board. The board does not respond to these comments. We are here to listen to you. If you'd like to address us, we have a sign-up list, it looks like. And so when your name is called, a approach the microphone, name and address, please, and then you'll have 2 minutes. I will be timing you. So Ron Clemens, are you first?
Paul.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well.
Is
Yeah,
it Paul or
Paul,
Ron?
sorry. I can't write.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry, what is your first name?
Paul.
Paul.
First of all, I want to thank everybody serving here today. You take a lot of grief from us citizens, et cetera, and we don't have to go into that, but I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for taking care of Caledonia. Paul Clemens, 2515 Noel Court. We moved and built a house in the on Noel Court approximately 25 years ago. We moved here because, you know, at the time it was horse country. And I agree with developing our subdivision, but in the Bears' efforts here, but I don't agree that we put 5 Mile through. I have witnessed over the 25 years a lot of young families moving in, having kids. They live on 5 Mile Road. It's a bit of a racetrack. I don't want to see another 62 houses times however many cars zooming up and down 5 Mile Road when we're trying to keep it, you know, family oriented and quiet and everything that we learned to love about Caledonia when we moved in here. So that's all the comment
Thank
I
you,
really
Paul.
have, other than Noel Court needs repaving. It's crumbling up. We got kids riding bicycles. There's
Okay.
chunks of asphalt. I know you can only do 18 miles a year, Tom, but can you please look at it again? Thank you.
Just have to get in line.
Get in line with everybody else.
Yeah.
Joe, Joseph, how you doing tonight, Joe?
All right, my name's Joe Menorick. I live at 6007 Finch Lane. About 2 years ago, the Plan Commission and Village Board, with the help of an outside consultant, developed the same rules that the developer today is looking for us to modify, or for you to modify. These are not small modifications. If you're going to just allow this to happen, why in the world did we spend all the time and resources developing those rules of engagement? Prior to the last meeting, I asked staff, did the developer come to the table with a plan that followed the rules? The answer was no, which lends me to the question of why, or maybe why not. At the last Plan Commission meeting, staff reported that both fire and police feel that the extension of 5 Mile Road is an improvement. That can't be 2 minutes.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's the old timer, the old.
All right. Extension of a 5 Mile Road is an improvement to the community because it will reduce response time to calls on the east side of the village. I challenge that because the safety building now is on the east side of Douglas Avenue, and it's the exact same distance between Charles and Douglas Avenue off the 4 Mile Road. If it's such a good thing for 5 Mile to go through, why was it not designed for pedestrian and vehicle traffic? The photos that they put on the screen before had sidewalks on it. And I challenged those aerial views as if it were on a primary road, which 5 Mile would become. I would also note that if this was such an important project to the village, why didn't staff or the board encourage them to purchase all of the tree farm instead of just 2/3? This is an important aspect because not all of the cross streets or side streets on the east side of the ditch connect to this 5 Mile route. Seems a little important to me that it would, if it's that important. My point is this: if you wish the development to proceed, do it right. Create a master plan which maximizes the use of the following rules, or don't do it because financial hardship should not be a factor when reviewing variance requests. It's simple. I encourage you this evening to take a stand the way I did when I was on the Plan Commission. The facts are in front of you. Say no to the variances and send messages to the developers. Caledonia has rules in place for a reason. Follow them. Thank you.
Sandra Eppers. Hi, Sandy. That's quite all right.
Sandra Eppers, 6104 Charles Street. While we may have a small part connecting to this current development, we are on the 120 development that we reviewed in January. And the pieces I'm coming back with, again, are really about traffic. And if we didn't do 5 Mile, we still have an issue because we're adding more houses back there anyways. And the traffic on 5 Mile probably is light right now, but I'll tell you that Charles Street is a racetrack. And really coming from out of the school, that's other than Middle Road, that's the only main road coming out of that space north. And so I think there's an issue about traffic patterns in general coming out of that space. There's not a lot of roads and not a lot of main roads for us to traffic. And so you're driving out of your driveway and there's times you can't get out of your driveway or you're taking a risk because there's people speeding through there like a bandit. So I really wanted, and I get we need to develop and I get that we need to grow. We've been here 32 years on Charles Street. The other part that is a little concerning, and I know we heard it in January, which is about We Energies and electric. Now, you guys are not in control of it, but I can tell you that in the last 3 to 4 years, our services for utilities with We Energies and downtime have been more. And my understanding from electric company is Charles Street is the main feed for a lot of this side of the road. So we add more houses and we add more pieces here, and I can't help but ask, what are we doing to make sure that the electric and the utilities are being sustained for the volume of houses that are being put in there? That would include the utilities for like Spectrum and all of the other pieces because they are all not performing well in this space. So we add more, 120 houses, 64 and another, how many there is up there. And that's not Bear's responsibility. That's our responsibility. And then lastly, if you're gonna bring commercial businesses here, please make them be something more than an antique car show or our antique building and make sure it's something that's of value to us or don't bring them at all.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Well, they're talking about the cell phone tower. Did you, I'm sorry, Lafayette, Indiana, about the cell phone tower, did you? I can't read your name. Sorry. Chris, did you want to address us?
Craig,
Craig?
not Chris.
Craig, Chris?
Craig.
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 That's all right.
But Chris will
You came all the way from Lafayette, Indiana to meet
I
us?
heard you guys were interesting people, so. Hi, my name is Craig McGrew. I'm here for AT&T Wireless. Proposal to co-locate antennas and equipment at an existing tower. Verizon took their stuff down from the high tension wires on the southeast corner of 7 Mile Road and US 41, not on the corner, but southeast of that. Yes, sorry. Verizon took their tower down, or took their equipment down from the high tension wires on the southeast part of US 41 and 7 Mile Road and built their own tower. So we are going to put up a compound fence around the tower because it doesn't currently have one. And then we're adding equipment in the existing lease area. And it's a 165-foot monopole tower. And we are also proposing to add AT&T antennas to add 147 feet below the existing antennas. And I'm here to answer any questions. I was a surprise attendee, so
Okay,
I
we
know
don't
what it-
answer questions, we're just here to listen to you.
I mean, if it comes up,
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here,
you're welcome.
especially since you came all the way from Indiana. Tom Cat? Sorry, Tom. You were close.
Tom Bronikamp, 1811 Shore Drive. We're back here again and same topic. It's green space. You know, we're not giving up on that green space. You know, we don't agree with, Pete the planner that, moving forward, the zoning and the green space requirements need to shrink. They're like their old standards and they want new standards. This density thing is just way, way too dense. We just can't live with that. We're not going to go down easy. We want to fight. And, I guess everybody in the room here has the same thing with the optics. So you got a developer that comes to you and says, hey, we'll give you $1.5 million bridge if you give us zoning and variances on green space. I mean, how does that even fly? I don't understand that. And I don't know. It's just density, density, density. maybe that has something to do with, the tax levy increase is based off of new construction. So I don't know, but we're not happy. So that's my piece.
Dan? Thank you.
Hello,
Good evening, Dan.
I'm Dan Justin. I live at 1818 Shore Drive. My problem with the whole thing again is the variance of this. We've been here to several meetings now in a row. And what I didn't understand is like, okay, you get the road, you get to make the variance changes. These rules are in here for a place. When does this stop? When do the variances, when do we keep on giving people leeway on green space, leeway on variances? What's the trade-off here? When does it end? Far as commerce on Douglas Avenue, it's a separate type of problem altogether. But I don't think this is a way to go. We enjoy the space that we do have there. I understand that they want to develop the area. I'm all for that, but at a reasonable cost, at a reasonable variance to keep it conform to what the rules state in the beginning. So I just think changing it just for one project and it's just gonna, when does it end? So that's what I gotta say about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Humberto? Did I pronounce that right? Okay.
Hi, my name is Humberto Delgado, 4600 4 Mile Road, and I'm here mainly to cry on you guys. Okay?
Don't cry.
I may start. Anyway, it's about the traffic issues. I was talking with my neighbor, Ruth Thielen, across the street from me, and she sent you guys an email about what's going on, and I'd like to find out, maybe one of you could call me sometime later and give us some answers on, there's a lot of traffic now, especially with that bridge out by Horley Dam. And it's very hard to get in and out of our driveways, both sides. They are, it's awful. We've had a number of accidents. I know the state built us that beautiful wall right there. And it's been hit twice real bad already, right in front of my sister-in-law's house, 4500 4 Mile Road, across the street from Ruth. Her daughter was hit, rear-ended, with her baby in the back seat of the car. And she was, they turned out fine, but still. They've clocked trucks there, empty trucks from the quarry, or even full trucks going up and down at awful speeds. And they do have to stop sometimes at the light. And if it's green, I know they go for it. On top of that, there's motorcycles that are just really bad at night. And during the day, we love our windows open during the summertime and the spring and early fall. But it is just awesome, the noise level there. So please, you guys know everything about the village, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, and could you give us maybe some kind of answer? What's going on? What I can offer you guys a quick idea of what to do if you post a couple officers to watch the speeds and the noise levels. Maybe we could get a little more revenue brought into the village. Just an idea. Thank you very much.
So we normally don't respond, but
Chief heard you.
the chief is there and Ryan Schmitz over there, who's the head engineer for Public Works. If you want to make contact with them and give them your phone number, I'm sure one of them will call you back.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Leslie Shepherdson. Good evening. I didn't scare you away after the last time?
No, I'm pretty hard to
I guess so.
scared. I tell you, my folder just keeps getting bigger. So Leslie Shepherdson, 1601 5 Mile Road. Concerns obviously with the new development that we're looking at.
Thank you,
Come
Leslie.
on, I'm hovering over this hole right here. I don't know if it's like the trap door where you drop
Yeah.
me down if you don't like
Ow.
me. So sorry. With the tree farm development and the amount of, I think what we've all kind of heard is the amount of homes that are being put in that development from 5 Mile all the way up to 5.5 and over into Caitlin, which is about 250 some homes that we're trying to put in there. Every time I come, I learn a little bit more. So now, why do we need rooftops? Now I understand. We need more commercial, entities on Douglas. Maybe if we fill that Kmart parking area, that could be helpful. But I don't think 250 some homes in a 20 some, area, acre area, is going to be that answer. And there's no guarantees. So you put all of those people in that space, and there's still no guarantees that you're bringing commerce into our community for tax purposes. So here we're allowing, a developer, deep pocket developer, to come in here and demand things and allow variances that have been here for years to change those for this one developer and maybe others that will come down. So looking at, we've got to set, I think Brandon mentioned, we've got to set precedents on what does that green space look like? What does the density look like? Can we keep it at a low density and everybody's happy? I don't know, because they've got to put $1.5 million road in that I don't think the village is going to say no to, because they've promised to other developers that needs to be done, right? And we've got a nice, beautiful public building here now that is a multi-million-dollar business or building that we just put up. So now again, who has to pay for that? We do. And now we're giving tax breaks to a developer as well. So I would ask you, what's in it for the residents that pay taxes day in and day out? Because there's been no recommendations this way. Everything is towards you or towards the developer. There's been nothing given back to us when we've asked. 2 homes, I don't think that's a give back.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yep, I'll just say one more thing. I tell our high school girls, on the back of my shirt, it says trust. Truth, responsibility, unity, service, and transparency. I would ask of that from our board.
Duncan? How you doing, buddy?
Duncan Cortez, 1907 5 Mile Road. So I'm talking about the Bear Project. We just think, my family and I think it'll fundamentally change the energy in our neighborhood. When we were thinking about moving out here, we looked elsewhere, Elmwood Park, Mount Pleasant, other areas in Caledonia, but we chose ours because of the unique nature of it. See, we have the best of both worlds. We live across from a farm, and we're 2 minutes from downtown Caledonia. I think that this project will be a detriment to our way of life for our neighbors and my family. So I hope you'll consider that, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Duncan. Ashley Spencer? Good evening.
Hi, my name's Ashley Spencer. I live at 2507 5 Mile Road on the corner of 5 Mile and Randall. We bought our house in 2017 when I was pregnant, and the reason we did so was because it was a very safe neighborhood. I loved that, you couldn't really get away in or out besides just a couple of certain roads. And so I have a son that's 6 years old, and I'm also speaking on behalf of a dozen other families who couldn't be here tonight. The past couple weeks, my son, who loves to hang out with his friends, has been almost hit by a car twice. I didn't tell him that. Also, within the past 2 years, going down 5 Mile Road towards where they would like to build, we have called in 2 drunk drivers, where we've had to stay up until 1 a.m. talking to the police officers because they thought there was a way out. And that was just very scary for us. Also, we just love the safety and comfort of our development once again with the Halloween going on. Just all the kids that love riding around in the neighborhood, love bringing in friends. And the stream that they want to build a bridge over, my son and his friends, they love, we'll call it the wildlife, the frogs, the fishes. Like they don't catch and release. They just love it. And we don't want more pollution and all of that kind of stuff going on. And we just love it, the neighborhood the way it is. And that's exactly why we bought out of every neighborhood that we could, out of Sturtevant, Mount Pleasant, any other Caledonian neighborhood, Oak Creek. We love our neighborhood. Let's just please keep it the way it is. And if they want to develop somewhere else, just please not in our neighborhood. We love it. Okay. And so do the kids. Let's do it for the children. All right. Thank you.
Michelle Miller?
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Miller, and I live 2427 5 Mile Road. I live 3 houses from the Clemma Ditch on 5 Mile. We built our home in 2004. In our backyard is a drainage ditch that runs into Clemma's ditch. Occasionally, we will have a fox or a family of deer or even a coyote use our backyard to run from the tree farm to the wooded area in Randall Lane. By removing the conservation area, you are forcing the wildlife into residential neighborhoods. We all know how much our residents value coyotes, but they are natural predators, and without them, we're going to have an increase of squirrels, raccoons, skunks, rodents. I'm asking the village to consider relocating the conservation easement. This can be an acre of property running parallel to Clemma Ditch on the east side. There is a proposed walking path from 5 Mile to Olympia Brown. We need to keep a space of the historical ecosystem intact. In Baird's letter, it says, completing 5 Mile Road. Ladies and gentlemen, we are complete. The section of 5 Mile Road from Dublin Court to Middle Road has a posted speed limit of 25 miles an hour. Increasing the volume of traffic will lead to an increased speeding, reckless driving, which will lead to the need for more patrol officers and in turn higher taxes. Compare traffic calls from 4.5 Mile to 5 Mile, and if you don't believe me. By connecting 5 Mile Road, you are disrupting the peaceful neighborhood we value. Furthermore, if you're going to disrupt this neighborhood, then we should have received a letter. The only letter issued informing us of this build was the residents along Clemma Ditch. I heard about this from word of mouth. The residents of 5 Mile, Dublin, Rebecca, Sandal, Randall Lane, and Finch were not notified of these changes. It impacts us all. I'm asking the board to issue a letter to all residents, postpone this decision until an impact of all residents can be notified and can give proper board feedback. Look, I returned to college.
Your time is up. Can you conclude, please?
I will sum up. I returned to college for my horticulture degree. The impact of our ecosystem must be considered. And to the Baird representatives, our neighborhood children play without fear of speeding cars or busy roads. And if you think our neighborhood wants that to change, you are out of your tree.
That concludes the sign-up list. Does anybody else like to address the village board? You don't like the buzzer?
No, it scares me. Okay, so starting now, today is a very important meeting for us. I'm sorry. Saida, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Saida Randolph, 1810 Shore Drive. Been a resident in Autumn Shores for 24 years. So today is a very important meeting for us. You, the elected officials, are making the final decision today that will affect not just the few homes that you notified 500 feet from the development project. This will affect all of us here in the village of Caledonia. This ambitious development of packing 62 homes here and hundreds of others within the small area will leave the community reeling from the effects. We aren't opposed to seeing new homes up. We would welcome a neighborhood that equals our home sizes, yards, and green space. But something of this magnitude is not welcome, and we are hoping that the officials we elected into office will protect and honor the 40% green ordinances that we have in place. It's been in place for decades and for good reason. It's what makes Caledonia what it is. And I'll pick up a few lines from the Village of Caledonia website. It says it defines the village as quality neighborhoods, picturesque open spaces, serene settings from the village, provides scenic views and additional recreation opportunities. It also says that Caledonia's safe, welcoming atmospheres make it attractive destinations for families and looking for a close-knit community that we call home. So we, the Village of Caledonia, are wanting our investment, the money that we put in our homes and our properties and our schools and local business to be protected. We don't want to alter what Caledonia represents. We don't want to give any exceptions or generous variances to negatively alter our neighborhood. We don't want to set precedent for other builders to do away with the 40% green space ordinance. Nor do we want to seek legal counsel to protect the community we have established and invested in for many years. We trust you, the Village of Caledonia, your priority. Make us your priority. Builders and developers are only here to make their millions and be off to the next project, not at all caring that we are left to deal with the aftermath. We are here to preserve our community and hope that the officials we elected will too.
You made it. Whoop, wait.
Will you sign in, please?
Oh.
No, you did.
Anybody else? Come on up. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joel Lechner. I live at 1615 5 Mile Road. Some of the things I wanted to talk about today, I looked up on the U.S. Census. 19.3% of the people living in Caledonia are 65 and older. We have about 10,000 houses. So, I mean, doing the math real quick.
So you're writing us off? Is that what you're saying?
Not at all.
Yeah, raise my hand.
You don't want any of us here, right? I do want everybody here. I don't want anything to change. That's the thing.
That's the majority of this board, so.
So that's about 2,000 houses that probably are going to come up for sale.
Wow.
Either families that are currently living there passing away or people taking over for them. So 2,000 houses on top of the 250 that are coming up being built. So we have to really look at, are we going to get enough people to buy the houses that are already here? Are we going to have enough people to buy the houses that are coming up? It also said on the census that there's 404 vacant houses currently. So now you're really getting into large numbers of people not being here. As a board, I ask you guys to really be our voice, understand that we appreciate where we live. We could move places, we picked here, we liked a lot of it. You guys get to decide the future of 10,000 households. And I think that's a big task. And I think understanding that making money and building through 5 Mile and finding ways to make Caledonia better is important. But forgetting about the people that are here, that have been here, that have kids that they want to grow up here. I have a 4-year-old, 8 years of building. He'll be in high school, done with high school almost, when this is done being built. I have a high school or 8th grader that will be out of college by the time this is done. So knowing that my kids are going to have to endure 8 years of across the street, seeing building and hearing noises and not really getting to enjoy isn't really ideal. I just hope you guys can understand community impact it's making, how you guys can help us. Environmental concerns, infrastructure strain, such as how are we going to support this with local businesses, and just make sure that we're ready for what's coming up. So thank you guys, and please do your best. Thanks.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Anybody else? That closes public comment. That means that the public will no longer have input in tonight's meeting. And we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 7A, Resolution 2024-100 is approving a concept plan for a proposed Thomas Tree Farm subdivision to establish the base development for yield and density to approve the waivers ordinances of 14.3, Section 4C, 4B, II, and 14.3B on parcel IDs number 104042317007000 and 1040423170081 and 000. I am going to do the unusual, and I am going to make an opening motion to approve this concept plan with the 20 conditions as listed. And I have a whole page of reasons why, so bear with me. I tried to categorize them, so under the comprehensive plan, our comprehensive plan encourages land use diversity and promotes efficient development patterns and relatively low municipal costs. Our plan providing adequate infrastructure to supply of development land to meet existing and future demands of residential uses, balancing individual property rights with community interests and goals, promote redevelopment of infill developments and existing infrastructure and services, enhancing existing residential uses. Some citizens have said that they've had sewer backup issues in that area. This is a different sewer, so it's will not exacerbate your issues. Some citizens have made comments about stormwater and that under heavy rains, they get flooding. This is the first subdivision in that area to have its own retention pond, so that will not make that issue worse. By the way, I did live over on that side of town. I had 2 different houses and 2 different subdivisions on that side of town until I moved to Franksville. So I've got over 40 years experience in that area. Comp plan housing policy, support full range of variety of housing types and flexible intensities. These are out of our ordinances. Encourage the use of conservation design and residential development in areas minimizing impacts on farms and environmentally sensitive areas. Encourage motorized and non-motorized travel connectivity between adjacent housing developments. This proposal will connect a trail from along Clement Ditch up to the new school, and eventually will tie back into Crawford Park here. Eventually, encourage infill development to benefit existing residents, prevent their displacement, and improve the tax base, availability of jobs and community facilities. Impact on municipal services. Police and fire chiefs state that adding 250 homes in Caledonia would not result in a need for additional staffs. The area where homes are located in this area does not negatively impact our services. Both police chief and fire chief have commented that 5 Mile Road will cut response times in that area in half. Water and sewer infrastructure already exists in the proposed neighborhood. Increased garbage services are net neutral as the dwelling units cover the cost. Village receives a needed connection to 5 Mile Road at no cost to village taxpayers. Village receives a portion of bike path connection along Clement Ditch as part of the larger project of the village. Connectivity from Community Park to Olympia Brown School. Increases the housing stock in the village, making the village more attractive to development in Douglas Avenue. The 21% green space as part of this development is greater than the amount of green space provided by the older plotted subdivisions. The village owns 20 acres of wooded land that abuts the northern portion of this development and should be a factor in consideration for variances and open space in the neighborhood. Mr. Stillman.
My point of clarification is on the motion. There's a resolution 2024-100 that does more than approve just the concept plan. So is your motion to approve the resolution 2024-100?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And Dale seconds the motion. I will open the floor to discussion on the motion. Ms. Martin.
To begin with, I don't know if this audience understands that, but this is the only time we have ever had a taxed incremental district created.
The tax district is not part of the conversation, Fran. This is a motion on concept
Yes.
approval.
Yes, and I am
TID
opposing.
district is not part of the
Yes, it
discussion.
is, because part of
It
the
is.
discussion has been that we are getting a free 5 Mile Road extension, and that is
TID
not
part of the
accurate.
discussion tonight.
It is not accurate that the statement that we are getting a free 5 Mile Road will happen. That is not accurate. What is accurate is that the developer proposes to front the money, and then from the tax increment that's created, then to be reimbursed. So to say we're getting
gonna
a
correct you
free
again.
5 Mile
The-
Road
The
is
TID
not
is not
accurate.
part of the discussion tonight.
Well, I'm discussing it anyway. So,
Then I'll cut you off.
well,
because-
don't cut me off because
Turn the mic off. There's no discussion on the TID. You have no, our lawyer's right here. Elaine?
Elaine is the village attorney, right?
I just asked, excuse me.
Ask
I
that
just
she
asked her.
comment on this, please.
This is working, okay. You're in discussion now about the proposed concept plan for the Thomas Farm subdivision. It is a correct statement that the TID is not up for vote and it's not on the agenda, but as a part of the discussion, it is a fact that there is a TID, and this is one of the developments that would be within the TID. So just because the TID isn't on the agenda doesn't mean that the fact that this development is in the TID can't be talked about as a part of the discussion. There couldn't be any action with respect to the development and TID increment, for example, or action on some other agreement as a part of the TID, because that's not on the agenda.
Fran, you have the floor.
So to continue, what is accurate is that the proposal would be that the developer pays upfront the cost of the road, but as the tax increment comes in, he would be reimbursed out of the taxes that stay in that TID. So those taxes do not go to alleviate the taxes of everyone else. They stay in the TID for 20 years. And there's there would be a proposed agreement that would be more specific, but that's a fact. The other problem I have with this is that this is a concept plan, not something that requires a public hearing, but it requires rezoning. Rezoning would require a public hearing. So when we do it as a concept plan first, we're sort of de facto approving it without having an actual public hearing. And so I have a problem with that, with the way that we're doing that. And those are generic discussions with respect to how this has been approached. I also have an issue, though, with the variances that are requested. It's not clear to me. Is there a revised version? How many cuts onto 5 Mile Road are now proposed? Because that requires a variance, and that's why I'm asking. I don't know if that was minimized.
At the moment,
ahead.
it looks like for the second concept plan, it was, I think, 12 total.
Okay, and I know that, is Pete here? Yeah, you are. Pete, I know that you read from the ordinances the last time in support of this, and I'm wondering if you could please read the ordinance that relates to driveways onto a main thoroughfare, which 5 Mile Road is, because that's what you're asking for the variance of. We're asking for a variance of that, and it seems to me that we had that ordinance for safety reasons. And so asking for that
There's
variance.
no variance to as part of the resolution that's requiring the driveway cuts at this point. Then to read the ordinance that would directly reflect that would require us to, I guess, divert and pull. We don't have it by memory to recite that entire segment that requires access control as part of Title 18.
Okay, I'm not sure what you just said.
You asked to recite the ordinance that requires the driveway access restrictions?
Right, there is an ordinance, as I understand it, that says on main thoroughfares, it's not advised, we should limit the number of driveway access.
Correct, and that's why the initial proposal included a rear-loaded private drive that was rejected, or not rejected, but was recommended to be re-looked at by the Plan Commission.
Correct.
And that's why then there was the modifications that were made that are similar to other subdivisions that have been approved in very recent memory that did not have necessarily the same types of waivers or ordinances that you may be referring to.
But now there's 10 driveway cuts onto a main thoroughfare. So I don't recall that we've approved subdivisions with driveway cuts onto what are designated as main thoroughfares, which
Well,
5 Mile
and this
Road
is a concept too, because we can't guarantee that the X number of driveways that are currently accessing it are the same as that are going to be there at the preliminary plat, at the final subdivision plat. This is really focused on density and the conditions of the waivers that are being approved or proposed as far as that open space. And some of the subdivisions as recent memory as the Glen at Water's Edge, there were at least 12-ish lots that had, maybe more, that had access onto 5 Mile Road. That was the other portion of that 5 Mile Road that was just recently extended. And to my knowledge, there was not necessarily a variance or anything granted at any stage of that.
Okay, but that ordinance is for safety reasons, correct?
Staff reviews access control from multiple perspectives, whether that's safety or congestion and traffic engineering perspective. So there's a variety of things, but yes, safety is one of them.
All right, so I have a problem with that because I think there's too many cuts onto 5 Mile Road. So.
So you approve the alley or recommending the alley approach?
I personally, I don't like, I know people don't like alleys, but if it were me, it seems safer to me to have limited access. I live on 5 Mile Road west of 31, and I know what it's like with people rear-ending me when I try to get into my driveway, and that's not a congested area at all. So I do have a concern about that many driveways on a main thoroughfare.
Okay, we're going to rotate around. Nancy, did you have a comment? I thought so. I think it is. No, wait a minute. I pushed the wrong button, sorry.
Yeah, I'm lit up now, it says. I got a couple of different things. One, I have consistently been opposed to changing the green space ordinance unless we look at that ordinance and take care of the ordinance. One question I have that maybe Pete can answer, the other older subdivisions that are in this area that we've heard don't have green space. Is that primarily because they were built before our ordinance went into place, our conservation subdivision ordinance?
That would be correct, yes. The subdivisions were before the stormwater management requirements and green space requirements that are now in place today.
Okay. So the green feeling that we have in this area has been concentrated in this open land. If we look at a green space in this area, because the primary green space being presented to us is stormwater, which really isn't green space. Do we have, how are we accommodating for that natural feel in this area? We're not.
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
I think the answer is we're not.
I will answer the fact that the definition of open space is the 40% rule is for common open space.
Correct.
So that's in addition to the green space that will still exist in the subdivision. For some, I get the understanding, feel that you're going to put 62 lots and they're going to pave the whole lot, and there's not going to be any green space, no trees, no shrubbery. That's going to be in the 62 lots. Is going to be 21%, I believe, the applicant is proposing to have in open space in areas that are not privately owned.
But that's all stormwater area, ponds and area. So
Correct.
It's not.
Correct.
It's not it's for water control, not for the purposes of having open space.
So ponds would not be considered open space. If it was a natural lake, you'd say, nope, that's not open space.
That's not why these ponds are there. They're there primarily to manage the water.
If you probably ask our public safety staff, they could probably say that the ponds that are located by us are a great natural haven for the local geese population in the village.
There's that
So
too.
there's definitely, and there's probably plenty of frogs and other critters that are already making homes over in those ponds. So to say that that's not open space or green space, I don't think is truly a fair shake, just because they also have a secondary purpose for engineering, for stormwater. They also do provide a habitat for nature and natural life.
Some frogs and
And
geese.
I bet you someone will stock one of those ponds with fish before it's all said and done, before you know it.
So let's look at the zoning issue. We're talking about going from an R3 to an R5. If I'm reading the document correctly, the R3 would put 38 lots in this area, whereas the R5 puts 62 lots. Am I reading that correctly?
I believe that's an accurate calculation based on the net dwellings per net acre.
So is it the density issue that's the main driver behind going to an R5?
Well, the R5 allows for slightly narrower lots as well as smaller lots. The R3 requires nearly a half acre minimum lot size, where the R5 at least allows a minimum of a quarter acre lot size. So it does reduce it by half, which increases the density. Therefore, if this concept were to go forward, the applicant would have to seek a rezoning to allow the additional zoning, because the R3 is two dwelling units per net acre, where this is, the R5 allows 4, and the applicant is asking 3.46 or 3. Is that
Something in
correct?
that area. Well, you
So
and
they're slightly higher than, is that you or is that me that
No,
is sending it off? So they're requiring addition, a higher medium density level zoning district to be able to account for those dimensions of those lot sizes.
Right, and you and I had a conversation sometime in the last recent time where we talked about the difference between the concept and preliminary plats, which I think is important for everyone to understand that you're right, this is a concept, not a preliminary. And when a preliminary comes in, it may not be nearly as dense and intense as what we're seeing right now. And I always then have to question, well, why are we doing preliminary or concept plans before we get to the preliminary? So the other thing, and it's not really a question, but when we talked about the value of these houses, what RCEDC brought us said that our average housing cost right now here for mortgage is $261, but that the average household income is only $90,000. So I go back to that question of where are the jobs that are going to support this kind of an establishment that has the values. Newport and Bear build beautiful houses. That's not a question. But it's how are we going to be able, where are the people going to come who are going to afford it? And I appreciate the gentleman who brought up all of us who are going to die and go live with angels soon. I'll be one of them, and that's okay, kind of thing. But I think those are, things we need to think about when we look at it. I also don't honestly like having this decision made before we have the zoning position made. And I'm done.
Did you have a hand up for?
Yes, Mr. President, if I just may add a couple of procedural pieces of information under the ordinances.
Of course you're going to.
Thank you.
That's where we pay all the big money.
Right. Just a couple of points of clarification. Under Title 14, Chapter 3, the ordinance does provide for the concept plan to come through first. That's very a detailed portion of your ordinance, and that's by design. That's the policy decision that the board made many years ago in terms of procedure. So you see the concept come through first. Then you see the rezoning, and the rezoning is a public process. It is not a de facto approval by the board at the concept stage. There is a public process that includes notices and a public hearing that happens in front of the Plan Commission with recommendations from the Plan Commission ultimately to the village board on the rezoning. And that process does happen before if the rezoning is approved or if it's not approved, but that process happens before any preliminary plat is brought forward. So the preliminary plat also is a process that goes to the Plan Commission and to the village board. And I do believe the Title 14, Chapter 3 has some individual notice requirements that might get mailed out as a part of that process. I didn't confirm that. The engineer might shake his head yes or no at me. I'm not sure.
The concept plat only requires per ordinance to mail letters to abutting properties of the parcel that's in question. The preliminary plat, I believe, is a 300-foot radius of the parcel.
Okay, thank you. And then after the preliminary plat process is the final plat process, which again is a meeting at the Plan Commission and at the village board. So I just wanted to point out that that is a part of the ordinance requirements. It's been that way for a very long time, since about 2002, I believe. And so it isn't an automatic approval at rezoning. So I just wanted the audience to know that there is a public process, there are decision points. This is a concept stage based on the limited information that the village has to date.
Thank you, Holly. Holly?
All right. We're seeing coach or teacher with trust. Coach. Truth. in front of you and tell you the truth, even though it is not in human nature to sit in front of a large group of people and not like the looks that she's going to get back when she tells you the truth that I am for this ordinance. And I'll tell you why. And honestly, why is because I have a responsibility, many responsibilities to this entire village as an elected official. I have a responsibility to you folks to tell you the truth. That part of my responsibility is to the village, providing a thoroughfare on 5 Mile at infrastructure that up front, and I'm not even going to get into what a TID means because I come to our finance director every year and get a thorough instruction on what a TID is as an elected official with a master's degree. It's difficult, but I owe it to our village as a whole to provide infrastructure at a low cost, important infrastructure that helps this side of the village that I live on, about 5 doors down on one of the busiest streets in this village with 2 young children, very young, 6 and 3, that attend your neighborhood school. The movement on this side of the village, it's landlocked. We need another thoroughfare on this side of the village. I'm not saying that it's not going to be busy. I'm not saying that our fine police department isn't going to do their darndest and our engineering department isn't going to do their best to ensure the safety of your children. I can't promise we won't keep the drunk drivers out. I can't promise we won't keep the people who get lost and the reckless drivers, but they come down 4 Mile. Racine followed a reckless driver into a tree the other day, and that man lost his life. It happens. I'm sorry. That's the truth. But I owe that to the rest of our village. And in that is my responsibility. Unity. Right now, that was your responsibility. Part of our democracy is that we're not always going to be united. You guys, in your responsibility, you're united. And I admire that you are here. I admire that you came and that you spoke up. I admire Franz speaking up. I admire Nancy and their unity. But I'm united with this, and I'm sorry. Service? You may not agree, but I've given the last 20 years of my life to public service. And it may not seem like it, but I would protect you and your family right now if somebody came into this room. And so, just so you know, my entire life is dedicated to this community and the community that I serve. So just because we don't agree and because you're angry doesn't mean that I don't care about you guys, okay? And because you're angry, you have a right to be, it still doesn't mean I don't care. But that's the truth. That's my responsibility to tell you that. And that's my transparency. So, I'm telling you
No comments from the audience.
that is where I
Comments from the
stand.
audience.
That is where I stand. That is how I'm going to vote. And that is why I am voting. And I do want to let you guys know that I do sit on the Park and Rec as well. We had Sewer PAC come in. And in the next 15 years, the city or the village of Caledonia is going to expect a 35% increase in population. And that is a fact. These people need to go somewhere, and we welcome them to the village of Caledonia. We talk about potentially, everybody says school districts, businesses. We have to give them rooftops. Why not give them rooftops that improve our tax base? If we don't want to put them...
No comments from the audience.
So, I'm giving you my truth. So, that's where I stand.
Thank you, Holly. Mr. Wishaw.
Well, my apologies to start out here. I'm going to be rambling all over. I've got a bunch of different notes here, but some of which I've heard tonight I agree with, some of which I don't. I agree with Fran that I would much prefer that
the zoning was approved first. I know we've always done it that way, and it does seem backwards to me, so that's my editorial comment on that. Regarding TID 6, I was opposed to it. I don't think we should approve a TID district for primarily residential property, so I'm opposed to that, but the fact is, it's here. There's nothing, the board approved it despite my vote against it. With regard to the comment about 5 Mile, I was opposed to that 5 Mile thoroughfare. I've come to the conclusion that with the number of houses that are going in here, it probably is necessary and is the right thing to do. Unfortunately, I grew up in that neighborhood, just south of there on Autumn Drive, Autumn, September, Fireside, Tiffany. About 20, longer than that, 1989, I believe.
Yeah, you're older than that.
You're young, you're young.
I lived there for 40 years. And back in, I think, 1989, 1990, there was development coming in our area. And I attended a board meeting in Caledonia and heard many of the same arguments I heard tonight. In fact, I was supporting those arguments until and I was kind of naive until some research was done, and I found out that all of the lots in the area that I lived on were non-conforming lots. None of them met the minimum requirements of the zoning. So that kind of shot down our argument at the time. But what I'm getting to is where I grew up just south of there, we're very close. The density, to my knowledge, is almost identical to what's proposed here. And there's actually more open space in this proposal than there is where Autumn Drive, September, and that area. And I'm on the old part of Autumn Drive, not the part to the west. So having said all of that, I have a hard time opposing this because other than I wish the zoning was first. That should have come first. But this development is very, very similar to where I grew up. It seems to fit in the area. Unfortunately, it does seem to fit that area. I hated to see development growing up. When I was a kid, all of that was wild areas. My brother and I had open range to go anywhere and do whatever we want. It's not that way anymore. Development is coming. So I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Lee. Mike, did you have any comments? You've been kind of quiet down there.
Well, I'm always kind of quiet. I'm very contemplative. Lots of times I get a lot of rap being quiet, and and it's true. But I do a lot of analysis in my head. One thing that I do recognize is we do have a traffic problem on that side of town, and we really do. And unfortunately, just like everybody else says, it's an inconvenient truth, but we do need 5 Mile opened up for fire rescue, those issues. Now, the amount of cuts on from this development and onto the street, well, it probably should be modified a little bit. I don't understand why people didn't like that alley aspect. I think that makes a lot of sense. Other than that, it's an inconvenient truth for development. I just went through it myself where I live. I lived in an area which we had open space and open fields, but the problem is I didn't own it. And we had a developer come in and put in houses next to me. Now, granted, we're not kings. We can't say, here you go, this is going to be this way, this is going to be this way. Unfortunately, we also have to balance the public with what the landowner wants. And unfortunately, we have to get what we can take, so to speak. Who knows? What if they come up with something that's worse? What if they say down the road there's not going to be any open space? What if something else happens? I think you have to take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it's a hard decision. But there's a lot of benefits that come from this. We do need a development on Douglas Avenue. Right now, we're woefully short. A lot of people that live here are commuters. People are asking where these people are going to come from. Well, we all know they're going to come from Milwaukee. They're going to come from the Microsoft people. That's who's going to move here. That's who's going to be able to afford these properties. And with that, I am in support of this.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Wishel, well, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I forgot. One other thing with regarding to speeders on the streets. This seems to be everywhere. I can almost guarantee you on a daily basis when I go home to my neighborhood, if I'm not going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, I'm going to have people giving me the finger. It's constant. And I'm asking, Chief, what can we do about that? I've talked to some of your deputies and we put the speed trailer out there. It doesn't do any good. We need some tickets issued to some of these areas. I don't know how to say it more clearly, but, you know, there's a rise in the road not far from where I'm at. Speed limit's 45. They're going through there 60 miles an hour constantly. One of my neighbors almost got wiped out there a while back. So I hear the speed issue, but it's not just your neighborhood. It's everywhere as far as I can tell. And I would love to be able to be deputized to do something about it. I'd volunteer my time to issue tickets.
Stand on the street. Get a fake radar gun. Thank you, Lee. Nancy, did you have one more comment?
Yeah, I did. The question of the alley has gone back and forth, and it was on the original. I will admit I was not opposed to the alley. I've lived in areas where there have been alleys. My one concern when it came up at the Planning Commission was the width of the alley, make sure the plows could get through and a garbage can be in there and that kind of thing. And we've heard the concern of people about the cuts for the driveways onto 5 Mile, although it's only 12 in the current plan. When the staff is looking at this further, I would like to know or hear something, not necessarily right now, but what would be the safer option long-term between the alley going back in and not fronting on 5 Mile versus having the driveways on 5 Mile with the expected traffic kind of thing. Douglas Avenue is a concern. It is part of this TID, and I voted against the TID too. But the one thing that could make a big difference for us, this is just my opinion now, is if the KRM goes forward, which is the connection of the rail between Kenosha and Milwaukee. It's 33 miles of train tracks. The station there would be a station here in Caledonia. If that happens, it will explode Douglas Avenue in a positive way. It will also benefit the developments and needs for housing and housing that can be supported by this kind of cost. That's it.
Thank you. I think that concludes comments from the board. I'm sorry, Trustee Martin, one more time.
Yeah, because what I want to say is that I understand that infill development is going to happen. And I also understand that if you live next to open space and it belongs to someone else, they have the absolute right to sell it. And we can't consider the fact that the deer are there and so on. I mean, if you want to preserve the open space, you have to buy it, basically. I understand that. My opposition really is that we have an ordinance that says 40% open space. The existing lots were there before we had that ordinance. So we're sort of reverting back to what it was and ignoring what's there now. And if the board would take up that ordinance and we revised it, it would require a public hearing, and the entire village then would be able to come and have input into it. And so I really object to the ongoing saying, let's just do a variance to it. So that's what I have to say. I also agree that 5 Mile Road really probably does need to get extended.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the vote. Then I will ask the clerk for a roll call vote, please.
President Weatherston.
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
No.
Martin. Trustee Spillman.
Yes.
And Trustee McManus.
Yes.
And I did you already. Trustee Wishow.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce. No. Trustee Lambert.
Resolution carries. Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 2024-101, authorizing the Village of Caledonia to reject bids for State Highway 31 sanitary laterals project. Can I have a motion on this item, please?
Yeah. Give me a second. Wait until the noise dies down.
At which school?
Oh, come on.
Oh, I'm in St. Francis, so. What? No, I'm a cop in St. Francis. Yeah,
Very proud of her.
yeah. So when I say I literally am in public service, I literally am in public service. What?
Can I ask you guys to take your conversation to the hallway, please? Can you take your conversation out in the hallway, please, so we can continue our meeting? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, oxygen?
Nancy, you're about ready to make a motion?
Move Resolution 2024-101, authorizing the Village of Caledonia to accept bids for these.
Reject.
Oh, excuse me.
That's an important one.
Reject the bids
Yeah.
for the State Highway 31 sanitary laterals project.
Thank you, Nancy. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, what's up?
What's up? Ryan, are you able to, I know Tony's not here. Can you fill in for him?
Yeah, so they went out to public bid to install 2 sanitary laterals on Highway 31 for 2 properties. The second property was added as part of the, call it being adjacent to the initial start of that project, and those bids came in extremely high, and those bids were not favorable to the resident or the village as a whole, and therefore they were rejected. And as of this day, we actually know that one of the residents is able to work with the contractor separate from this public bid. So that is why they're being recommended for rejection.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2024-102, resolution approving a revision to the Village of Caledonia wage scale. This came through the Committee of the Whole at our last session. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-102.
Can I have a second, please?
Second it.
Holly and Dale. Any discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2024-103, approving a sale of approximately $9,490,000, approximately, I like that, $9,495 in general obligation promissory notes. Can I have a motion, please? Might not need you.
All in favor?
Have a second?
Second.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
I will.
Holly's. Any discussion on the motion? Was there a discussion? What would you like to discuss? That's not the budget. We're talking about a. Huh? This is general obligation promissory notes.
We just wanted you to sit in the public here.
That's okay.
We just like have you stay for a while. See how
hang on.
Zeller's doing, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, Nancy.
So it'll have to go off the top of my head since I don't seem to have.
That's on.
No, it's not. There it is. Why are we putting the fire truck in here? Because I thought that was going through our regular budget.
So
And
Wayne might be
if
able
I'm
to-
wrong,
That's more
just
of a
tell me
question,
I'm
yeah.
wrong.
That's a question for Wayne.
Yep.
Poor Wayne.
Yes, the fire, last year we brought the fire engine and said that we were going to bond for it in 2024. But we had to make a decision on it to get the better pricing at the time.
Right.
So we were able to save $100,000 roughly by committing to it, cutting the check last year, but then repaying ourselves this year.
Right. So am I remembering incorrectly that part of TID 4 was included in this 9 million? If it is?
There's projects in TID 4 that are being funded by this borrowing.
Right.
That's correct.
And I
Yep.
think we've talked about TID 4 in the past, that about $2 million was needed for the sewer and water extension in there. So we're putting that in here and it's really not being accounted for then straight out of TID 4. How does?
So
Yeah.
you're issuing debt, so you have
Uh-huh.
money to pay for the projects up front, and then you're abating that debt service over time as TID 4 produces revenues. So it's a way of converting those future dollars that the TID will collect into dollars now that you can put towards projects. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I get it. I may not like it, but I think I get it.
The
Okay, thanks.
payments of the future payments of principal and interest come out of the TID increment.
That's it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, right? Was it Holly and Dale? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming all the way down here to,
Well, you
Yeah.
answered my question, so thank you.
thank you. Resolution 2024-103, approving a sale, oh, I'm sorry, that's one we just did. That dumb shit.
Now.
I'm
Don't-
sorry, did I say it out loud?
Don't call
Resolution
yourself
2024-104, approving certified surveyed map with no number, parcel ID 1040422 28041000, located at the southeast one-quarter section of 28T4N R22E, Village of Caledonia, Racine, owner Helding Farms. This is a land split, correct?
This is a minor land division that created 2 lots from
From one big one.
nearly 100-acre parcel.
Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-104.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Wait,
Go ahead.
Russ, Mr. Stacy is here, and he was on the board at the time, as I understand it from my discussion with him, that there was an ordinance that when a large parcel was subdivided like this, there had to be a plan for future development. I'm being a little bit vague about it, but perhaps he could explain it to us.
I
Am I
can
right,
help
Rusty?
a little bit, but there's a small portion of the ordinance that requires a development plan for final certified survey maps, and it goes into further detail later, where it usually talks about industrial, commercial, business, and mixed use developments is really where the focus was on the development plan for the portion of the parent parcel of the land split. However, in the past, there have been some that have provided development plan, and in the past, there have also been land splits that have not required that development plan, which more or less, some of the ones that we've seen in the past are napkin drawings that say, I might put a road here at some point in X future years, and there's some that just never have completed that. And as part of this land division, that wasn't something that was necessarily considered due to recent CSMs not having that same standard, as well as the remaining 95 acres or so is not even considered part of the land division because of the 35-acre threshold rule. And so the focus was on the lot 1 and 2. However, I have not been here for that long to provide the 20-plus years of history and experience that some others may have, and even maybe Elaine may have in that aspect. But there is a caveat, though, in there about development plans.
Thank you. Was there any other discussion on the motion?
But I had that discussion with Mr. Stacy, and if we have an ordinance that requires something else, I just wanted to raise that issue.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
the section of the code is under 14-1-5 sub B4. And I think Ryan stated it correctly, that it says if it's proposing a parcel zone for commercial, industrial, or mixed use, shall submit a development plan for the whole of the parcel to be divided. This, I don't believe, is for
This is a farm.
commercial, industrial, or mixed use.
Okay. With all that, oh, I'm sorry, Lee.
Quick question. So Pete, you sent me an email today regarding this, which basically just confirmed, I believe Elaine just confirmed what you said. This is A2 property, so our ordinance does not apply to that. Okay, because we went through this in section 14-1-5-C3, said a conceptual plan is required, but it doesn't say it does not say what you were said, that you've referenced that from some other section in the ordinance. All right.
With all that, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2024-105, approving a site, building, and operations plan to construct a 504 square foot expansion on the ground equipment area of the existing telecom tower at 8451 Highway 41. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-105, and thank you, Craig, for being here.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? We have. We're obligated to vote yes unless there's a zoning requirement. Then there is not, because the antenna's already there. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks for coming all the way from Indiana.
We hope you enjoyed your stay. And we're entertained by the Yes.
Ordinance 2024-14, create 233, establishing compensation for members of the village board. We have a motion to approve this, please. Thank you, Nancy. I have a second by Holly. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's probably not gonna, I mean, it's not gonna affect me.
All right.
I know.
No,
Doesn't affect any of us right now.
no, it doesn't. All right, new business, approval of AP checks. Mr. Wishaw, if you could, please.
Second.
Any discussion on Lee's motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. That's all you have, right, Lee? Budget review, Wayne? You handed out new budgets?
Be nice.
None of us had a chance to read them yet. Anything else to add?
No, everything that we talked about at the last meeting, the whole meeting, all those changes that, the interim administrator and I had recommended, I put incorporated into there.
He's fine.
That is a new complete, it's a complete budget, yes. Health insurance, yes. That is in at a 5% reduction over what was initially budgeted. So it resulted in a large savings. We actually did get 2% more. So, and that contract is waiting for Todd's signature.
We actually got, there's only 3%, 3% only a raise?
No.
Oh,
So,
our increase was only 3% then?
no, our increase, we have a 7% decrease from.
Decrease, I meant.
Yes,
Oh,
a 7% total decrease for exactly the same plan.
We anticipated a 10%
We already voted
increase.
this.
Correct.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, what are we talking about? We're not doing it.
Oh.
God,
Anyway.
I'm getting so confused. We're all in favor though.
Silly.
Okay,
Holy wow.
all right. Thank you. All right, we're going back into a closed session. Village Board will take a motion going to close.
Move to
Pursuant.
go to close. That's what we're all eyeing about.
I need to read the whole thing. Public funds conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons are closed session, specifically discuss the offer to purchase received by the village of 46040 Douglas Avenue per section 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the government body to rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to adopt the body with respect to litigation in which is likely become involved in, specifically to discuss the following U.S. District Court ED of Wisconsin, case number 24 CV 861, Robert Carradine and Racine Police Department, Caledonia Police Department, Racine County Sheriff's proposed agreement to resolve the Racine County Circuit Court case number CV 24 CV 0727, Village Caledonia, Christy Kapke, did I pronounce that right? Yep. And Mark Makovsky. A motion.
Yeah, I had Holly,
Holly.
motion, and
Someone seconded it.
I didn't hear a second.
Who seconded the motion to go
Go
into
to
close?
close. Well, I'll second. There you go.
Fran did. All in favor, say, I'm sorry, roll call?
President Weatherspoon.
Yep.
Trustee Martin. Yes. Trustee Stillman. Yes. Trustee Lambrick. Yes. Trustee Pierce. Trustee McManus. Yes. And Trustee Wishaw.
Elaine, you got the floor. Hold on, sorry, go ahead, Fran.
I move to authorize staff to negotiate an agreement as discussed in the closed section with respect to the Village of Caledonia versus Kepke et al. case.
Thank you, Fran. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Fran. It carries. Resolution 2024-106, authorizing the acceptance of an offer to purchase a parcel of land with parcel number 104042318300230 located in 5 Mile Road and Douglas Avenue, an amount of $630,000. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-106.
Thank you. Can I have a second? Who was that? Was that Nancy? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?